Today we're driving the 2021 GMC Canyon, and we have the AT4 Performance Edition Off-Road Package. Think of it as a ZR2, but just slightly lighter. We don't have locking front and rear differentials, we don't have the DSSV dampers, but we have a pretty nice interior, a Bose premium audio system, and a lot of fun off-road goodies on the outside and underneath the truck, just to give it some more capability. Let's walk you around this GMC Canyon AT4 and show you what it's all about. We'll take it for a drive, test out the Bose premium audio at the end of the video, and give you guys some thoughts on what this thing has been like to live with. We've had some fun in this week. It's pretty capable off-road, especially with these Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires. You kind of can't go wrong with this rubber. They're even snow rated, and they're pretty meaty, pretty good looking, 31 inches in diameter. We also have some rock sliders here, though they are body mounted and not frame mounted, though I think they'd still hold up to a little bit of abuse, but it would be nice to get those mounted to the frame if you're going to be doing some serious off-roading. Around the back, we've got a black exhaust tip. This retains the step, so it's a little bit easier to get into the bed. We've got a very nice bed liner that's included with this package. I mean, this is still kind of an old school, back to basics truck. I love the size of these Canyons. They fit down tight trails. They are nice to daily drive and navigate on the road. Unfortunately though, this does not have a matching fifth spare tire, and it's missing a tow hitch, which is very strange. It's got all the piping and all the stuff for it, but it just has these two kind of little recovery points. Around the front, things get a little bit more serious. We have a really nice beefy skid plate here, big aluminum skid plate, as well as some other skids down the transfer case. No skid on the fuel tank, however. A couple of recovery points that are painted red, which look very sharp and off-roady there. A little bit of a cutout here on the front bumper, so you have a nicer approach angle, and they deleted the front splitter, the front aero dam. The inside of the Canyon, the GMC trucks have always just been slightly more luxurious, a little bit classier, a little bit nicer than the Chevrolet counterparts. And that seems to be the case here. We've got some nicer leather materials, this faux carbon fiber. These seats fold down nice and flat, give you a little bit more room. It's not the biggest space back here, with this being the crew cab, but it's a usable amount of room. You can also manually slide this rear window open, which is kind of cool. You get a couple USB ports, a nice little cigarette lighter charger, and seated behind myself at 5'10", I have a decent amount of legroom. Headroom, a couple inches above my head. It's fine. Pretty attractive looking interior. Heated seats, heated steering wheel. This has the 308 horsepower 3.6 liter V6, mated to an 8-speed automatic. The other option, of course, is the diesel engine. We had the same V6 in the ZR2 earlier last year. It's a nice engine. I like it. Pretty high power output, and it loves to rev. Not a lot of torque, unfortunately, but we'll talk about that on the drive. Rated for 19 miles to the gallon combined, 17 in the city, 24 on the highway, and 18-19 mpg. That seems about right for combined fuel economy. On the inside, we have all-weather floor mats, also included with this package. This does have an auto-locking rear differential, though you don't have a lot of control over when it locks and when it doesn't. You do have a 2-speed transfer case, 2 high, 4 auto, and 4 low. Down here you've got a very tiny wireless charger that will pretty much only just fit a normal sized iPhone. And is it going to work? Is it going to charge? It will. Good. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Got a decent reverse camera here with moving lines. There's also a trailer line, even though this doesn't have a tow hitch. Kind of a weird omission. Lane keep assist, parking sensors, hill descent control. and you've got these heated seats where you can heat just the back or the back and your butt. All very nice. Heated steering wheel controls right there, and cruise control, just traditional cruise control, nothing fancy. You can set your collision alert distance though, which some people may enjoy. This screen is pretty responsive. Again, same typical GM stuff where the viewing angle loses contrast, but otherwise it's pretty responsive, and there's not a lot of complexity in the infotainment here. You have a home button, which I like, and actually this Bose sound system is pretty decent. A nicer sound system from Bose in this GMC Canyon, and listening to it at speed on the road, on the highway, on long trips, feels pretty good. These seats are reasonably comfortable. We did a lot of long road trip miles in this week, and I felt pretty good in this Canyon. Ride is nice. Key fob is a separate thing from the actual physical key. I do kind of like inserting the key into the ignition and turning it instead of just pushing a button, but the separate key fob is kind of weird. All right, let's take this GMC Canyon for a drive and see what it's like on the road. I think ultimately the question with this AT4 is, why would you get this over a ZR2? Because they're about the same price. This AT4 starts at around $40,000, and the off-road performance edition package is a $3,200 option. As spec'd, as tested, this is a $45,000 truck, which isn't terrible. It's pricey, but have you guys seen truck prices recently? They're all pricey. On first impressions, I really like the way this Canyon drives. There's really nice ride control. It's a little bit stiffer at lower speeds, but off-road and bumpy terrain, it's really well damped, and you get into higher speed stuff, it holds its own. It's actually maybe slightly more comfortable than the DSSVs at lower speed. Definitely doesn't have the high-speed jumping capabilities, but overall, I'm pretty impressed with the suspension, and there's nothing special about it. It's just the standard unbranded dampers underneath. I have good visibility. I like this little fisheye mirror on the driver's side, though it isn't matched on the passenger side. We do get a slightly wide angle mirror there, so I haven't had too many issues this week with visibility. Pretty good views out of the rear window. The V6 sounds okay. It's a bit industrial sounding, but it is a fun engine. Not terribly fuel efficient, a little bit old school. Loves to rev, and it really does pull at higher RPMs quite nicely. This 8-speed automatic is great, except for when you're cruising on the highway and you want to make a pass. It's always downshifting from 8th to 6th or 8th to 7th. There's pretty much just zero torque sitting at 1500 RPM, so it always has to downshift to accelerate. The smaller size of this Canyon gives this pretty good handling around the corners. Even these Duratracs have a good amount of grip, considering they're pretty aggressive all-terrain tires. Oh yes. Got a tire pressure indicator there on the center digital display. Transmission fluid temperatures, lots of different visualizations there, which are very nice. Wind noise on the highway is pretty good. It's not super silent in here, but I think it's about right for the class. A little bit of a roar from those Duratracs. Brake pedal feels nice. I like the steering. I do think this is kind of the perfect size truck, especially for any off-roading. And just cruising here on the highway, we're sitting in 8th gear. I'm just gonna push the accelerator down just a little bit, and it's gonna downshift. So every time you need to just accelerate a little bit, like you hit a slight incline or something like that, it's always going to be downshifting into 7th or 6th. You can manually select some gears, so that's good. Downshift by putting it into L, pressing the little button on the side of the shifter. That's my only complaint about this 8-speed is on the highway you're just hunting a lot, but I can see in the interest of fuel economy it's wanting to always find that tallest gear. It's definitely not as bad as a Toyota Tacoma, but again, not a lot of torque and low in the low end of this V6. The 6-speed with the diesel is kind of fixes that problem, but then you don't get the high-end power. So it kind of depends how you're going to be using your Canyon. If you're doing a lot of long road trips, a lot of long hauls, a lot of miles, the diesel might be a good option to save some money on fuel. The fuel economy on that is a little bit better than the 19 mpg combined that you'll get in this V6. So some things I really like about this GMC Canyon. I love the simplicity, the old school nature of it. Everything has a button, a knob, a dial. It's a familiar place. It's easy to use. It's approachable. I get in this and I know where everything is immediately. I like this off-road package. I think for some people it's going to be more than enough, and for others they'll want to get a ZR2, and they should get a ZR2. So personally, if I were getting an off-road oriented smaller truck, I would just go straight for the ZR2 for around the same price and have at least more capability than I needed, instead of maybe wanting more than what I have with this AT4 off-road package. So that's kind of where I stand on that versus the ZR2. Otherwise, I think there's some really nice pros to getting this GMC. The interior leather is a little bit nicer. You get some cool little features here and there. The Bose sound system is definitely a positive. The drivetrain, everything works well enough. This is a decent drivetrain. It's naturally aspirated, no turbochargers or anything like that. For $40,000 plus, I would like to see radar-guided cruise control and maybe some cooled seats. Really kind of entice me with some more luxury features, but it is what it is, and we're getting what we're paying for here in this GMC. Let's walk you around this Canyon one more time, and then we'll test the Bose sound system. Pretty good looking truck in my opinion. I like the grille. There's nothing too crazy or disagreeable about the design. Alright, so we'll go into Apple CarPlay, hit up our sound test playlist, which I have now added to Spotify. A link of this is in the description. You have audio and track controls behind the steering wheel. You do really have to press the buttons a bunch of times though to adjust the volume. Little minute changes every time you press up and down. objectively, this is a pretty nice sound system from Bose. It's clear. With the amount of road noise that you get in this Canyon, you can still hear it pretty well at speed on the highway. Much nicer, clearer highs and lows than you usually get from Bose. Cool, hopefully that gives you guys a pretty good idea. Oh yeah, lots of rattling and knocking around from this key fob too. Alright guys, well that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Check out Winding Road and Daily Motor for their thoughts on this GMC Canyon. Daily Motor just started a new series called Car Court, and it's a really fun series where Chris and Charlie get together and they compare and argue the merits, pros and cons of each vehicle. It's a good series. They've done a nice job with the first few episodes, and stay tuned for more on the Daily Motor channel. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.